The 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan brought an unceremonious end to the so-called forever war. 20 years, $955 billion, roughly 2,500 U.S. service members killed, tens of thousands more injured, and rough estimates of civilian casualties put the number at around 200,000. All this bloodshed to root out the Taliban, which the U.S. claimed was harboring al-Qaeda at the time, more specifically Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks in New York City. But if you go back some 40 years during the Cold War era, the CIA sent tens of millions of dollars in aid and arms to the Mujahideen, better known today as the Taliban. So a Taliban spokesman once said, "The Americans have the clock, but we have the time." Truer words have never been spoken. After 20 arduous years in Afghanistan, America departed the country in a highly criticized exit, an exit many say lacked strategy. America was forced out of Afghanistan, not victorious, but not on their terms either, but their adversaries. The return to Taliban rule took 20 years, but they've returned, this time with more equipment than their Mujahideen forefathers, as American forces raced out of the country to beat the clock, leaving behind entire bases full of supplies and equipment. Apache helicopters, trucks, medical supplies, anything you might find on any U.S. military base in the world, all abandoned at Bagram Air Base. But the months leading up to this hasty withdrawal, the U.S. was already trying to make deals with local warlords, tribal leaders, with rebel groups in a failed attempt to garner support against the Taliban, who was gaining back territory across the country. Once again, arms and money flowed through back channels of Afghanistan, just as it did more than 40 years ago. So, if the enemy of my enemy is my friend strategy didn't work during the Cold War era, why does the U.S. continue to think this strategy might work in a different era? And that is where we find ourselves again today. And here we are, we find ourselves in the aftermath of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan just 1 year later. For better or worse, the wounds left in the Middle Eastern country are still very raw.